Many of the groups using Distiller originally started off with their systematic reviews and literature reviews using Excel to store their references and their extracted data. And many of those groups are now moving those Excel spreadsheets full of data into Distiller for safekeeping and also to add to existing reviews, and so that they can continue the review, but now using Distiller. So what we're going to look at today is how you can take that data that you have in your legacy spreadsheet and drop it into a Distiller project. And it's a multi-step process. I'm just going to take you through it right now. So first off, let's take a look at the data that we want to import. This particular spreadsheet has a number of columns: ref ID, author, title, abstract, and so on. It also has a little bit of data that was extracted, and basically this data was screened. These references were screened outside of Distiller, and now they want to bring them into Distiller. And we don't want to screen them again once we get them into Distiller, so we need a way to label them as already having been screened. And so I'll show you how we do that. So these are the three questions that were already answered in their earlier screening process. So they asked if they were evaluating the quality of systematic reviews, and so on and so on. So let's go over to the project that we'd like to import these legacy references into. This is the project we've got going, and you can see that currently at full text screening we have 32 references that have made it to full text screening. We would like to take the references from the spreadsheet and add them in at level 2. We don't want to start them at level 1 because we've already screened them outside of Distiller and we don't need to screen them again. So to do that, we come in here to references, we say upload references, and we go grab the CSV file. As you probably already know, it's very easy to get data and references and PDFs into Distiller. Basically, you can just drag and drop an RIS file or an EndNote ENLX file or a CSV file into this area of your upload screen, and it will upload those. And you can upload as many of those files as you want. Distiller will parse them out and get the references out for you. You can then upload your PDFs either one by one or as a zip file and attach them to your references. And that's not the topic of today's discussion, but it's just a recap of how you get the data into the system. You can even upload CSV files that have previously captured data and have those uploaded as fields as well, and then you can have that data automatically populate your forms without you having to re-extract the data. So that's a nice way to reuse information. But today what we're going to quickly take a look at is how to export data from the system. And certainly once you have the data in, that's great, but what if you want to get it out for safekeeping or for use in an analysis platform or for whatever reason you need it? So basically you just go to the Datorama tool and you select the data that you're interested in. So let's say I want all of the data captured in abstract screening and full text screening and in our study allocation information. I just run that report and it will show me all of the data that's been captured on a per reference basis. So here's my ref ID and here is all of the data that has been captured, and you can just basically look through it and make sure that it all looks correct. And in this case it does. Let's go a step further and add in the actual citation as well. So just add a column for that. And it'll basically just create it in a bibliographic style. So here it is, and then here's the data that we've captured for it. One other thing you could do is if you want to have bibliographic fields in as separate fields, you can go into reference display options and pick the fields that you want. It will actually create a separate column for each field that you select. So basically, once you've got your data here, just pick the output format you want it in. So a CSV, Excel spreadsheet, RIS file, or whatever makes the most sense for what you need it for. And typically it's a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet. Just select the format, run the report. It generates this report here, but now it puts it into a CSV file for us. So I just grab it here. There's my references and all of the data that we've been captured. So that's how we get all of our data, our captured data, out of the system. What about the references themselves? Well, that's pretty simple. All you do is just switch to RIS format, and it will now export my references in RIS format so that I can put them into EndNote. I can go one step beyond that, though. If I'm going to end up exporting my PDFs as well, I want EndNote to be able to find those PDFs so that it can reattach them. So what I do is I just basically put the directory on my computer where I'm going to put those PDFs, and then Distiller will put that directory information into the RIS file so that when EndNote loads that RIS file, it will know where to find your PDFs. So that's step one. Just go in here, click run the report, and you've got your RIS file with all your references and the location of your PDFs. Now you just need the PDFs themselves. So you go into Reference Display Options, say Display Attachments, rerun your report. And actually, I've just downloaded it to my machine, but what I want to do is view it online. Run my report. And it's going to show me all of the attached PDFs. So here they are with links to them all. And what I can just do now is go to the very bottom here and say download all attachments, and it'll download them, and we'll download them to that directory that I specified in my RS file. And now I've got everything. I've got my references and I've got my PDFs. So I'm great. And I've also downloaded that CSV file with all of the extracted data, and I can download it as a single CSV file, or I can make separate CSV files for the different types of data that I've extracted throughout the process. Lastly, if I want to go one step even further beyond that, I can export to RIS, and I can actually use some of the fields available to me in RIS to actually attach some of my extracted data as RIS fields. So for example, in my safety and performance criteria, I'm going to map my safety data question to a specific field in my RIS file. So I'm going to come in here and say, let's map it to custom 3. And I'm going to map, and you can see it's mapped it right here. And then performance data, I'm going to map that to, say, custom 4 and map it. So now when I download my RIS file, it's going to have not only all of my references, but the references in my custom 3 and custom 4 fields are actually going to have information that we extracted while we were in Distiller. So I'm preserving that, and I can review it in EndNote and reuse it however makes sense in future research. So that's a quick overview of how you get your data out of the system. It's fairly straightforward. You can run it any time, of course, and I hope this helps. Thanks very much.